Here I suggest making a medallion and using two different methods. One is an intuitive approach using the clone stamp tool, which allows you to do things like this with an exclusion zone, because obviously when you subtract, there will be areas that go beyond the boundaries. We'll see that this method is quick, but not necessarily very high quality. And then we'll look at a second method right after, using masks and triplanar shapes. So before we start, first of all, we'll need to create a new project. I'm going to delete the sphere and also show you that you need to prepare your work a little bit. You'll need to have some material to actually carve into these primitives, and above all, you need to avoid leaving the extrusion areas in black, since it's actually the opposite that you want. Here I'm using the mobile version of Photoshop, but you can use any app, whether it's Photoshop, Illustrator or others, since this initial text was made in Pixelmator on Mac. So we'll actually need to do the opposite and make sure that the extrusion areas are white and the black areas are zones where in fact both the mask and the alphas in general will not have any effect. So the first thing to do is to generate a PNG. Here I started with a 1080 by 1080 PNG, but you can choose a larger size if you want. Next we'll start with a cylinder as our base. So I am going to select this cylinder. I'm going to come and validate. So the first thing is possibly to increase the number of subdivisions so that you can also increase the number of meshes in terms of topology. This will of course give you better quality, let's say. Next, I'll use the gizmo tool, I'll use the align tool and rotate my shape so I can see this cylinder properly. I'm going to slightly adjust the thickness of this cylinder. Now we can use the stamp tool, but of course you need to confirm this shape first, because as long as you haven't confirmed it, you won't be able to access the tools. The stamp tool is located here, so we can activate it, but before that we'll make a few small adjustments. The stamp tool has a capture area with a dynamic radius, which allows us, for example, to start from the center and apply this alpha. Of course, you'll need to go and select the alpha. So we're going to tap here to start. If it doesn't appear on your screen, that's normal. I've already imported it earlier on my side, but I strongly recommend that you import it as well so you can follow along without any issues. Once it shows up in your list, you can tap on it to select it and then move over to the attenuation section where we'll adjust the next settings together. If you keep this curve, you'll get attenuation around the edges. But that's not what we want. We want the entire texture. Next, using the grid will also help you orient yourself. The X-ray tool. This will also let you see the grid behind, so you can spot where the green and red lines cross, which will be the center of the sphere. Next, we touch and move outward to the exterior. By default, you can see that this clone tool is set to symmetry, so we're going to disable that symmetry. I'll repeat the process, and now you'll notice, if we turn off X-ray, that the quality isn't necessarily there. I'll go back a little, I'll turn X-ray back on, and we'll put it back on later. You can use the voxel tool to increase the resolution, for example by raising it to around 220 and then ask it to reconstruct the mesh density to get a more detailed result. We go back to X-ray mode, the clone tool is still active, and we start drawing, but we continue to have this low quality. Here it was actually the opposite of what I wanted to do, which is to subtract. Let's go through to the end of the demonstration. X-ray mode, I start from the center, move outward, and I could have varied the intensity to make the extrusion more or less pronounced. And if I look at the back of my figure, or the front for that matter, it doesn't really matter. I'll have this overlap exactly. My letters, my cylinder is properly hollowed out, but I have some excess material. So what I'm going to do is position myself on the right. We're going to use the cut tool, which is located here. And so this cut tool will, for example, work from a rectangle. I draw this rectangle in the area that I specifically want to cut out. And here you can see that by doing this, I'm hollowing out my shape and removing the excess, except that, as you can see, the quality really isn't great, which is exactly why there's a second method. So we're going to disable this element for the next steps. This time we're going to start with a triplanar shape. We're going to position ourselves on the right. So there's a masking system. Next, we're going to increase the number of divisions. Here, for example, my tests were done at around 380. This can actually cause your iPad to slow down and create some lag when performing the tasks you've asked it to do. That being said, this is exactly the key to achieving the quality we want. I also recommend saving your work regularly because crashes can happen unexpectedly. That happened to me during my first test as well. I'm going to rename it to 3 because I already have a 2. And then what I'm going to do is go into this panel here, switch to mask mode, erase everything to start over with my own mask. So same thing, we click on this button with the brush tool. We're going to take a dynamic radius capture, an alpha that is the one we imported, so we're going to retrieve it. And then for the fall-off curve, same thing. I want a flat curve, just like we did earlier. I'm going to close this panel, that'll help me. I start from the center, and by default, again, I have symmetry. So what I'm going to do now is first disable the symmetry setting, which will stop any changes from being mirrored automatically. After that, I'll return to mask mode, allowing me to work on specific parts of the model. Then I'll carefully redraw this shape to make sure it looks exactly the way I want. So the result is right in front of you. If we look at the shape that was extruded, here we have our letters. And this is a material that will actually be interesting for doing, for example, Boolean operations if you ever need to do that. So once this shape appears the way we want it to, we can confirm by coming back here. So here, validate, and then we'll get this basic shape. So if I reposition myself here, you can see that I'm not at all at the right angle. So since my tool is confirmed, or at least my shape, my primitive is confirmed, I can now rotate it on this axis. If necessary, I can also modify the scale. Let's try to do it neatly. This part can be used to perform a Boolean operation on a cylindrical shape, which allows us to carve the cylinder with the letters and really control the final result. However, this type of Boolean operation can be quite demanding, especially when the mesh is very dense, because your device may slow down, take longer to compute the changes, or even crash completely. So while we continue with this step, it's important to be aware of these limitations and to work carefully to avoid those issues. In any case, my iPad has a really hard time handling this kind of thing. I'll show you a demonstration. If I add a cylinder here right now, I'm going to rotate this cylinder by 90 degrees and reduce its size. And so just in case, I'm going to save the latest changes so I can return to this result once the operation is done. So what's the idea? It's to use the letters to carve out the cylinder, and for that, well, we're going to go back here to the scene panel. We're going to activate both the triplanar and then the cylinder here. That's something extra I have, so I'm going to delete it. And so I'll end up with the triplanar and the cylinder. I select both and hide the triplanar since that's the one that will serve as the base for the Boolean operation. So next I activate the Boolean operation and perform the operation here. So either it just blinks into nothing, or sometimes, and that's what happened to me, it got stuck at 30%. Well, here we were lucky during the demonstration because we didn't go overboard in terms of quality. But in any case, there you go. We have a result that's much more acceptable than what we had at the start. So the key is really to save your work, not to be too greedy with subdivisions, and to save your progress regularly. Then run this Boolean operation to get exactly this result. You can see here that we still have a pretty nice smoothing quality. Now the final touch would be to possibly add some color to this shape. So we're going to select the brush tool and pick the color we're interested in. For example, we can go with this slightly saturated yellow-orange, and once you have that, you can set the roughness you want and then paint everything. The colored areas I had around it come from layers. So here, by adding a layer and still using the brush tool, you can set up for the brush a capture with a dynamic radius. Then you choose the color you're interested in, and this will allow you this time to surround certain areas, to click and drag to define them. Gradients of color in places you choose around this shape. Here you can see that both on the front side of the shape and on the back side of the shape, the overall quality is really great and impressive.